Before you touch her, she has already decided who you are, not by your words, not by your looks, but by how safe her body feels around you. One wrong move, one rushed touch, and attraction doesn't fade. It shuts down instantly, quietly, permanently. This is where most men lose women without ever knowing why. Because the first touch is not physical, it's psychological. And if you don't understand that, even the smallest contact can make you unforgettable for the wrong reasons. Listen carefully, because if you get this wrong, it doesn't matter how attractive, successful, or well spoken you are, your presence will feel unsafe instead of desirable. The first touch is not about your hands, it's about your awareness. It's about emotional intelligence. It's about whether she feels seen, respected, and relaxed in your energy, or pressured, rushed, and evaluated. Most men think attraction is built by escalation. They're wrong. Attraction is built by safety first, and only then desire follows. A woman does not experience touch as a physical act alone. She experiences it as a message, and the message she is constantly reading is simple. Does this man understand boundaries, or is he testing how much he can take? So before we talk about where to touch, understand this rule. If your presence already feels invasive, no touch is safe. If your presence feels grounded, calm, and respectful, even a small touch can feel powerful. Now let's talk about the first place. The first place is the hand, but not the way most men do it. Grabbing, pulling, locking fingers too early. This doesn't feel romantic. It feels possessive. A woman's nervous system immediately scans for intention. Is this connection or control? The hand is about invitation, not ownership. The least creepy, most emotionally intelligent way to touch her hand is momentary and situational, passing something to her, helping her step over something, light contact while laughing, and then releasing first. Releasing first is everything. When you let go first, you communicate safety. You say, I'm not here to trap you, I'm here to connect. Holding her hand for too long, squeezing or intertwining fingers before emotional rapport is built triggers resistance, even if she smiles politely. Remember, politeness is not consent. Comfort is consent. The second place is the upper arm or shoulder, but only in a grounded, non-lingering way. This is where men either do it right or completely ruin it. A light touch on the upper arm while emphasizing a point, congratulating her, or guiding space in a crowded area can feel protective, not sexual. And that distinction matters deeply. The shoulder is neutral territory. It communicates presence, not intention. It says, I acknowledge you, not I want something from you. But the moment that touch slides, presses, or stays longer than necessary, her body notices. And once her body notices discomfort, attraction shuts down silently. Women rarely confront in these moments. They withdraw emotionally first, and most men never realize that's the moment they lost her. The third place, and this is where emotional intelligence separates men from boys, is space management, not skin. Yes, this is still touch, but indirect. How close you stand, whether you lean in or stay grounded, whether you allow silence or rush to fill it, whether you respect her physical bubble. The most powerful first touch is knowing when not to touch. When you pause instead of pushing, when you hold eye contact instead of escalating, when you allow her to move closer instead of stepping into her space, you let her nervous system choose you. And when a woman chooses proximity herself, every future touch feels natural instead of forced. Here's the truth most people won't tell you. Creepiness is not about location. It's about timing, intention, and self-control. A man who lacks self-control can turn the most innocent touch into something uncomfortable. A man who has self-control can create attraction without touching at all. The first touch should always answer this question for her. Does this man respect my autonomy? If the answer is yes, she relaxes. If the answer is no, she guards herself, even if she stays. Real confidence is not taking, it's being allowed. And the men who understand this never need to ask how to touch a woman because women feel safe enough to move toward them first. Most mistakes happen because men rush to validate themselves instead of reading the moment. They touch to reduce their own anxiety, not to deepen connection. And a woman can feel that instantly. Her body reacts before her mind does. That's why you can say all the right things and still feel off. Your timing exposes you. Touch should never be a test. The moment touch becomes a test. Will she allow this? You've already crossed into insecurity. Secure men don't test boundaries, they observe responses. Notice how she responds to your words first. Does she lean in when you speak? Does she stay engaged during pauses? Does her body remain open or slightly angled toward you? Touch is not the starting point, it's the continuation of comfort already established. This is why playful micro touches work better than dramatic gestures. A brief brush of the hand during shared laughter, a light tap on the arm to emphasize humor. These moments feel natural because they are emotionally synchronized, not strategically planned. Another thing most men misunderstand: escalation is not linear. You don't move up physically just because time has passed. You move when mutual energy shifts. Sometimes that shift happens in minutes. Sometimes it takes hours. Sometimes it never happens. And forcing it never creates desire. When a woman feels emotionally regulated around you, her guard lowers. When she feels regulated, even silence feels comfortable, and comfort is the doorway to attraction. Also, understand this: the first touch is not about arousal, it's about trust calibration. She's subconsciously asking, does this man respect signals? Not words, signals. Did he notice when I leaned back? Did he pause when the energy softened? Did he release before I had to pull away? Every time you show restraint, you increase perceived value because restraint signals abundance. It signals that you don't need to take, you're chosen. This is why men who are calm and self-contained often feel magnetic without trying. They don't invade space, they don't perform masculinity, they don't chase reactions, they allow moments to unfold. And here's the uncomfortable truth: many men confuse confidence with boldness, but boldness without attunement feels aggressive. Confidence without attunement feels arrogant. Attunement is what makes confidence attractive. The safest first touches are the ones that could be completely removed without changing the interaction. If removing the touch would make the moment awkward, it was never safe to begin with. Pay attention to how often you're touching compared to how often she is initiating proximity. If you're doing all the initiating, you're ahead of her nervous system. Slow down. The goal is not to impress her body. The goal is to calm her nervous system. Desire grows where safety lives. And the irony is this: the more patient you are with touch, the faster attraction builds, because she doesn't feel like she has to defend herself. When a woman feels she can relax around you, she opens naturally. When she feels rushed, she closes politely. And most men never realize the difference because closure is quiet and politeness looks like interest. This is why emotional leadership matters more than physical confidence. A woman is constantly assessing whether a man can lead himself before he ever leads an interaction. If you can't regulate your impulses, she won't feel safe surrendering any part of herself, emotionally or physically. Touch, when done right, feels almost forgettable in the moment, but unforgettable in impact. She doesn't walk away thinking, he touched me. She walks away thinking, I felt comfortable with him. And comfort is what keeps her curious. Men who struggle here usually overthink technique and underthink presence. They memorize rules instead of developing awareness. But attraction isn't mechanical, it's relational. You're not following steps. You're responding to a human nervous system. If she laughs and stays open, you stay grounded. If she goes quiet, you don't rush to fill space. If she shifts away, you don't chase. You respect. Respect is seductive when it's effortless. Another detail most men ignore: your touch should match your tone. If your words are calm but your touch is intense, there's a mismatch. If your energy is playful but your touch is stiff, it feels unnatural. Consistency creates trust. Inconsistency creates confusion. This is why slow men often win, not because they hesitate, but because they observe. They don't need to prove anything, and a woman can feel when she's not being evaluated, rushed, or claimed prematurely. There's also something powerful about neutrality. Not every interaction needs to lead somewhere. When you're genuinely okay with wherever the moment goes, your body language softens, your touch becomes lighter, and that lightness feels safe. Touch that feels safe gives her permission to feel desire without fear. And understand this deeply: a woman doesn't fear touch, she fears misinterpretation. She fears that once you touch, you'll expect something. The moment she senses expectation, her guard rises. So the cleanest first touches carry no agenda. They exist in the moment and disappear without consequence. No pressure, no debt, no implied next step. When she realizes she can enjoy the interaction without owing you anything, she relaxes. And relaxed women are far more open than pressured ones. Most attraction dies not because a man touched, but because he attached meaning to the touch. He made it heavier than it needed to be. He turned connection into transaction. The men who feel naturally attractive understand this intuitively. They let moments breathe. They don't cling to progress. They allow curiosity to build instead of forcing momentum. And when touch finally happens again, later, it doesn't feel like escalation. It feels like continuation. So remember this: the goal was never to learn where to touch. It was to learn how to be someone worth touching. When you lead with calm, awareness, and self-control, your touch stops being a question mark and becomes a quiet statement of safety. And safety is not boring. Safety is what allows desire to exist without fear. A woman doesn't open to hands that rush. She opens to men who pause. She doesn't respond to pressure. She responds to presence. And she doesn't feel drawn to entitlement. She feels drawn to restraint. If you master this, you'll never worry about being creepy again, because the right touch at the right time from the right energy never needs explanation. It simply feels right.